We know your secrets. Welcome to DarkWhispers TV.
At 7:03 in the morning, a motel's internal system showed one employee still on shift. He had been active for 3 years. He was standing in room 6. No alarm went off. No one noticed. The night clerk hadn't clocked out. The front door was unlocked. The coffee machine was still warm. On the counter sat a half-finished incident report, written neatly, as if the person filling it out fully intended to come back and finish the sentence. He never did. There were no signs of violence, no broken furniture, no blood, nothing that would normally trigger an investigation. By the time anyone realized the clerk was missing, the building had already opened for business. This isn't a story about ghosts. It's about how people disappear quietly, not because something chased them, but because the systems meant to notice simply didn't. There are places built for people who are passing through. They are not meant to remember you, not meant to expect you. Motels are like that. But this motel remembered, and once it noticed you, it never forgot. This is a true account of something far more disturbing, a place that learned people. In 2016, Evan Miller, a 32-year-old drifter, took a night position at a small roadside motel off Interstate 70. The pay was low, the hours were long, but the nights were quiet. From 11 p.m. to 7 p.m., Evan sat alone behind the front desk. The motel had 16 rooms and one rule: never assign room 6 unless the system allows it. No explanation, just that sentence. The first night Evan noticed something was wrong was a Wednesday. At 1:42 a.m., a man walked in. Mid-40s, gray jacket, no luggage. He asked for a room and paid cash. When Evan entered the details, the system froze, then refreshed. Room assigned 6. Evan hesitated, but the system allowed it, so he handed over the key. The man smiled faintly. "You remembered this time?" Evan didn't know what that meant. At 2:30 a.m., Evan checked the security monitors. Room 6's door was open. No one was inside. The bed was perfectly made, but the timestamp showed something impossible. The footage looped, the same 12 seconds repeated again and again, as if the room refused to move forward, unable to shake the feeling. Evan pulled out the old paper logbook. Entries went back years. Most were normal, until the handwriting changed, messier. And even short sentences. Guest in 6 again. System allowed it. He knew my name. He said I looked older tonight. One entry ended mid-sentence. Then a final line written much later: if he asks what day it is, don't answer. The man returned the next night. Same time. Same clothes. Same calm voice. One night again. Evan checked the system. The guest was already checked in. For 3 years straight. Never checked out. Never charged. Room 6. The man leaned closer. "You're doing better than the last one." Evan started noticing gaps in time. The clock skipped minutes, sometimes hours. The sunrise would pause, suspended, then continue. Every time it happened, room 6's light was on, and the guest was waiting not inside the room, but on the monitor, staring directly into the camera, as if he could see Evan watching. On the 7th night, the man finally asked, "Do you know how long I've been here?" Evan remembered the warning. He said nothing. The man smiled wider than before. "Good. That means it hasn't chosen you yet." The system chimed. A new message appeared. Employee status. Active room 6. The day manager arrived at 7 a.m. The front desk was empty. Coffee still warm. Security monitors still on. All cameras showed normal footage. Except one. Room 6. The feed was live. Evan stood inside the room, facing the mirror above the sink. He raised his hand slowly and pressed his palm against the glass. His reflection did not move. When maintenance opened room 6, It was empty. No Evan. No luggage. Only the mirror with a faint handprint on the inside. The motel did not close. Room 6 was removed from booking sites, its door painted over. But systems don't forget. 2 weeks later, a new clerk started the night shift. On his first night, the system lagged, then refreshed. A message appeared briefly before disappearing. Employee status, active room 6. He assumed it was a glitch. Years passed. The motel was renovated, but guests still complained. Not about noise, about familiarity. One guest checked out early, telling the manager, "Someone already knew I was coming." During a software upgrade, an IT technician noticed a hidden background process. It ran constantly, displaying a single repeating line, "Occupancy must be maintained." Below it was a list of names, all marked as STAFF, none marked as checked out. When Evan Miller disappeared, there was no press conference. Police treated it as a voluntary disappearance. He was a transient worker, someone who simply moved on. The case was closed quietly. Years later, a journalist noticed a pattern. For missing person reports, different years. All last employed as overnight motel clerks for the same company. Maintenance records showed repeated renovations. Room numbers changed, but one space remained consistent. A single room-sized area, never repurposed, always locked. An internal audit later uncovered more irregularities. Employee logins that never logged out. Time cards that ran for years. Each dismissed as a software error. No evidence of violence was ever found, just absences. People who went to work and never officially left. The motel still operates, under a different name. And every night, someone sits alone behind a front desk. If you ever check into a motel late at night, and the clerk looks exhausted, like someone who hasn't left in a very long time, remember this. Most disappearances don't look like crimes. They look like people who were easy to forget. Stories like this don't end when the lights turn on. They linger in empty hallways, in quiet jobs and systems that keep running long after no one is watching. Thank you for watching. If you want more true and settling stories about people who disappear quietly into the cracks of everyday life, subscribe and turn on notifications, because some stories don't come back on their own, and neither do some people.